How did globalism get started? The third greatest truth of the Bible after Jehovah is God and Jesus faced death instead of accepting falsehood is the fall of the Tower of Babel, where the tribes were scattered across the earth and their languages confused. This on the face of things seems extreme since the Bible was written in the Middle East, but it is 100% the condition of the globe and makes a person sit back in awe. Then we get to Alexander the Great, upon whom conquering Persia, Iran supposedly said, "Nothing is left of the known world to conquer," known world being the operative phrase and conveniently short-sighted of Alexander. Fast forward to the Mongols, isolated tribes in Mongolia. They combined and with dynamic tactics and ruthlessness built an empire from Mongolia, China to Turkey, and greatly facilitated the transfer of knowledge, spices, silks over many thousands of miles. Then we get to Spain and Portugal in the 1400s. Spices were reaching them, but only after passing through many lands where tolls were charged, greatly increasing the prices. Henry the Navigator began the impetus to reach India and China by sea and acquire spices cheaper, followed by Christopher Columbus, who ran into a continent filled with many new spices, and Vasco da Gama, who did reach India. These sea-bound efforts to acquire spices are the genesis of everything that happened afterward, good and bad. Many people died on those ships. Many people died due to interaction with those ships and trade. Can't rewrite history. But the fact is, it was spices that were the initial objective. Which brings us to modern times. When you are in a grocery store and are at probably the smallest spice section, do you realize 500 years ago what a fortune you were looking at? Kings, queens, princes, and princesses would have looked at that spice section in awe. Further, if you are concerned about the future and retaining some value in your physical possessions, investing in spices is a worthy consideration. They store well, they are immediately usable, and they are light to transport. And this investment is practical for people who can't invest in silver or gold. Yes, that might seem like an apocalyptic investment, but again, spices are comparatively cheap now, and they are usable. Besides political breakdown, war would generate rationing, and extraordinary natural catastrophes would also break supply lines. Globalism is a truth. Imagine if global trade were shut down. The burden of freedom and liberty lovers is what type of globalism to have, or face a life without spices.